Before I get into today's story, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for all the feedback and the new subscribers and the comments and views on my last video about the disappearance of the Hawkins brothers in Tennessee. I just wanted to say thank you to the person who corrected me. I realized after I had posted the video that I did mispronounce the name of the town in the story of Thomas Callens, a missing man from Corinth, Mississippi, and I had mispronounced it. And I do appreciate that. I do realize and I do admit that from time to time I do mispronounce a word, and I don't do it on purpose, but sometimes I'll just read it wrong, or it may be a word that I'm unfamiliar with, but I will try to do better. And I may mispronounce a word in today's video as well. I'll try not to, but if I do, just know that I am human. I'm not AI, as someone pointed out and said they appreciate the fact that I talk in my own voice and that I don't use the AI automated voices. I am actually getting ready to do a story about a missing girl from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I very well may mispronounce her name. I'm going to look her up on YouTube first and see if I'm correctly pronouncing her name in the story, and hopefully I do. But it does mean a lot for everyone who subscribes because, like I said, I work alone on these, and I do the best that I can. I know they're not 100% as professional as some of the bigger creators on YouTube and other forums, and I just appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen. This one is from the Charlie Project, and this is Erica Lee Fraysure. Erica has been missing since October the 21st, 1997. She went missing from Brooksville, Kentucky. She was 17 years old at the time. She is a white female with brown hair, 5'6" and 115 pounds. Erica was last seen wearing a purple sweater with 2 white stripes across the chest and 2 white stripes down the sleeves, and Levi jeans, white Keds sneakers, a Winnie the Pooh watch, and 4 gold rings on her right hand, one that has a sapphire and diamond heart. Now, Erica was last seen driving her 1988 black 4-door Pontiac Bonneville. Now, her car was located. She was last seen between 9 and 10 p.m. at the Video and Tan in Brooksville, Kentucky. She was socializing with some friends that night, and after she got into her car and left, she was never seen again. Her car was discovered unlocked and abandoned off of Frank Road between some bales of hay in a field. Now, this says that someone took the car there and parked it. Maybe she took the car there and parked it herself and got into a car and went somewhere with someone else. But here's the thing that makes me think that that's not the case. Her purse, her money, and all of her other items that she had in her purse were left inside of this unlocked car. Now, most women, when they leave their car, if they decide to leave their purse behind, they lock the doors. And so her keys were gone. So at first it was thought that she had taken the keys. Maybe she was planning on coming straight back. She parked the car there just so it wouldn't be out by the road. But later on, after some searches were done, her keys were located across this road and were like they'd been thrown into the grass and the leaves. And her car being concealed behind these bales of hay makes me think that someone else parked the car there because they didn't want her car to be found very fast. There was no sign of Erica. There was no sign of any kind of foul play. She just vanished. Now, there was a man who was questioned about her disappearance, and this man later shot and murdered his wife, and then he killed himself. Authorities say that the man was ruled out as a suspect before he did all this. He had an alibi, and I don't know if it was the community believing that he had done this, if his wife believed that he had been involved. I don't know what led to him shooting and killing his wife and then killing himself, but his name had been cleared of any involvement. Now, there was another suspect. This was 20-year-old Shane Simcox. Now, Shane was an acquaintance of Erica's, and he had been seen with Erica the night she vanished, and it's believed that he may even have been the last person to see her alive or to see her at all. He told police that she gave him a ride to his house, and she dropped him off out in front of his house and drove away. Now, Simcox had been expelled from Bracken County High School because he had threatened a teacher and the teacher's daughter. He had a criminal record for burglary. He refused to take a lie detector test in connection with Erica's case, but he maintained his innocence, and there's been no convincing evidence against him. He is considered a person of interest in Erica's disappearance. Erica was a resident of Germantown, Kentucky, which is about 50 miles south of Cincinnati, Ohio. She was a senior in Bracken County High School, and she had gotten a part-time job working at a pizza place in Augusta. Now, shortly before she went missing, she had asked her employer to give her some more hours. It was said that she had planned to enroll at the Northern Kentucky University and study accounting, and she wanted more hours at work because she wanted to save up some money for going away to college. Now, it was said that Erica had started to hang out with some new friends, and they were thought to be a little bit of a rougher crowd than she was used to. It was also reported that Erica had gotten into an argument with a friend prior to disappearing. Authorities do not believe Erica left on her own. She had had no past history of running away. She had never gotten into any kind of trouble in her life, and she was a good student. She had not told any friends or family that she had planned to go on any type of road trip or spend time with anybody. There have been few leads in Erica's case. Both of her parents died since she disappeared, and due to the lack of evidence, her disappearance is being investigated as a missing person rather than a crime. Now, I don't know anything about these friends, that supposedly this new crowd of friends that she had started to hang out with. They said that Erica had a steady boyfriend, and I don't think that he was part of this crowd. And I don't know what might have led her to get involved with new friends at the end of her high school years. She was last seen at this video rental store. She had hung out with some friends that night, and whoever parked her car there, whether it was her or someone else, they didn't take her money. Her wallet, purse, and her checkbook with what cash she had were inside of the car. If you have any information, you can contact the Bracken County, Kentucky Sheriff's Office at 606-735-2700 or the Kentucky State Police at 859-428-1212. Amy Danielle Gibson was last seen December 7th, 1990 in Greensboro, North Carolina. She was a white female. It was said that Amy had told her family that she was going to walk up the street for a little while and that she would be right back. Now, it doesn't say where she was planning to go. Down the street, up the street for a little while, maybe to a store, maybe to a friend's house, maybe just out for a walk. It doesn't say. She left her home on foot, and she was never seen again. Now, Amy had been reported missing several times by her mother prior to this disappearance. Amy was last seen leaving her home in the 2700 block of Liberty Road in Greensboro, North Carolina on December 7th, 1990. She didn't take anything with her. She left walking. She didn't have any clothing or anything to take along with her. She had been reported on 4 separate occasions, but she always returned home within a couple of days. Now, it was said that Amy had all it says here is that Amy had an adult boyfriend. I don't know how much older he was than her. She was 15 years old at the time, 5'6", about 110 pounds, with brown hair. The boyfriend allowed her family to come and check his residence. He said that she had never been there. There were several possible sightings of Amy in the local area, but none of these were ever confirmed. Extensive searches failed to find Amy. Her Social Security number has never been used, and she's never received a driver's license or any other type of ID. That was the last day that she was ever seen or heard from, was the day that she walked away from her home. This woman has been missing since 1962 from Charleston, South Carolina. She's a white female, and her name is Eloise Way. She was last known to be wearing a yellow sundress with white stripes, tan shoes, and sunglasses. She was carrying a large white purse. She wears eyeglasses that are bifocals. Eloise was last seen in Charleston, South Carolina on August 15, 1962. At 10 a.m., she left the Atlantic Coast Life Insurance Company on Wentworth Street, where she worked as a bookkeeper. She was going to walk 4 blocks to the First National Bank and deposit some money. She had $1,458 in bills, $8.83 in coins, $729 in checks, for a total of $2,196. These deposits were less than the usual amounts that she handled. She made these deposits regularly, and she had never had any problems. Her co-workers expected her to return right away. But after a while, when she didn't return, they called the bank, and the bank said she had never arrived, that she had never made these deposits. They waited a few more hours, and when she didn't return and they couldn't find her, they filed a missing person report. Her daughter went to check her apartment, which was a half a mile from her workplace, and it seemed that everything was in order. All of her clothing was there. There were no suitcases missing. The only thing missing was the clothing that she had worn to work that day. And she had left behind her glasses with her bifocals at her office, at her desk, because apparently she wore them when she was reading and doing paperwork and doing these, her bookkeeping duties, but she didn't wear them when she left the bank or when she left the insurance company to go to the bank. She had worked for this insurance company for 10 years, and she was a trustworthy employee. She was described as reliable and had never had any problems at work. She had no problems in her personal life. She had 2 adult children, and her first husband had died. By the time of her disappearance, she was engaged to a man from Brunswick, Georgia. She didn't have a driver's license, and it was said that she did not leave her house at dark. She stayed at home. She didn't go out at night. Now, a witness reported seeing a woman that she believed to be Eloise talking to someone in a car about 25 yards away from the door of the insurance company. Now, this would have been around the time that Eloise was missing. According to the witness, the woman walked away from the car, but it pulled up in front of her again. And after a short conversation, she got into the car and the car drove away. The woman described the driver as a man in his 40s, and she believed that the car had out-of-state license plates. Now, it's unclear whether or not this was actually Eloise or not. And if she was only walking a few blocks away, maybe this person came along and offered her a ride. Maybe she told them no thanks, and they insisted, so she got into the car. Basically, they couldn't cash the checks, so they would have had around $1,465 in cash, including the coins. And that might have been a lot of money in 1962, but it wouldn't have lasted a long time. So if this was about a robbery, Eloise's son told reporters that he believed his mother was abducted by a man who was a suspect in a robbery in 1957. Her son thought that Eloise had become friends with this suspect, unknowing about his past. That she became friends with him. She didn't know that he was wanted for this, that he was a suspect in this robbery, that she had met him at a party, and her son believes that this was the man that was in the car outside of the insurance office. Now, maybe she did tell this guy as a friend, just in conversation, that part of her job duties were to make bank deposits. And maybe he saw an opportunity to get some money. But whatever happened to Eloise? The son's theory was never proven. It was never confirmed. I don't know who this man was. And the son has since passed away. And there's really not a whole lot to go on about Eloise. There's a lot of stories about her. It wasn't the normal. She was known to carry larger sums of money, and she did this regularly. She made these bank deposits. She'd never been accused of taking any of the money. She'd never had any problems at her job. She was trustworthy and reliable. So it's possible that the son's theory could be true. Now this one came up on the Facebook page, Missing People in Cold Cases in Kentucky. This is the story of Connie Faye Gregory, also known as Connie Faye Kuiper. Last date of contact was January the 23rd, 1980. She's missing from Litchfield, Kentucky. She was 5 foot tall and 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Her parents notified law enforcement on January the 24th, 1980, that she did not report to work. However, her vehicle was found secured in the parking lot, and her co-workers noted that she was backed into a parking space that she did not normally use. And the fact that her car was in the parking lot in the wrong parking area, and also that she did not report to work, gave them reason to be concerned. Contact was made with her ex-husband, who reported that his last contact with her was the day before at around 5:20 p.m. I don't know what other details he may have given. This is from the Charlie Project. She was a white female, aged 30, 5 foot tall, 120 pounds. She was last seen wearing a brown full-length leather coat, a light green colored shirt, and green pants. Connie Gregory was last seen in Hudson, Kentucky on January the 23rd, 1980. Her ex-husband stated that he last saw her at 5:20 p.m. and that she left the children with him and stated that she would be back in 2 or 3 days. She has never been heard from again. On January the 24th, her vehicle was found in the parking lot of her workplace. Copy set in Litchfield, Kentucky. I would like to have found more about Connie, but there just wasn't a whole lot. On some of these older cases, there's just not. I did find this article that was written this year. Today marks 45 years since Connie Faye Gregory of Litchfield went missing. Connie disappeared January 23, 1980. She was only 30 years old at the time of her disappearance. She was reported missing by her parents when she did not report to work. Her vehicle was found in the parking lot of her job. That's all there is. That's pretty much a recap. There's been no updates. It just says if anyone has any information about her, they can contact Kentucky State Police at 270-766-5078. And sadly, that's really all I could find on Connie. So this next story is also from Kentucky, and this is the story of Katie Mae Cawthorn. Katie Mae Cawthorn, missing from Gamaliel, Kentucky, in the area known as Bug Tussle in Monroe County. She has been missing since October the 1st, 2019. She's a white female, aged 20 at the time of her disappearance, 5'1" and 150 pounds. She was last seen wearing a pink t-shirt, black leggings, and brown boots. She has brown hair and brown eyes. Her ears are pierced and her nose is pierced. She has a scar on her forehead between her eyebrows and a scar on her nose. She has been known to have addiction issues. On October the 1st, 2019, she left home after an argument, intending to go through a soybean field to a creek 3 miles away. She took a small packed bag and left on foot without her cell phone. She has never been seen or heard from again. She was reported missing on October the 10th. She left behind a 3-year-old son. Was October the 23rd, 2022. Katie has been missing for 4 years now. Nobody knows anything about her whereabouts or anything. Police aren't searching for her. The community isn't very concerned. She is my dad's sister. My dad passed away, but he would not be happy if he were alive, and he knew that the community of Tompkinsville, Kentucky, and surrounding area, even the police, weren't interested in helping find her. Someone around that small town has to know something. This is just crazy. 4 years, someone needs to talk so my family can get the justice they deserve, so her parents and her own child could get answers. She have had an addiction, but she's still a human being. She's somebody's daughter, friend, and family. Katie's mother and father have been cleared of any involvement in her disappearance. Now, since this original article was written, there has been an update. This was from 2024. Bug Tussle, Kentucky. Kentucky State Police confirmed that human remains discovered last November, this would have been 2023, were those of Katie Mae Cawthorn. Katie had been missing since October of 2019. Now, she was last seen just north of the Kentucky-Tennessee state line. Public Affairs Officer for Kentucky State Police Post 15 confirmed on Thursday that the remains found on Blankenship Road belonged to Katie. Monroe County Sheriff's Office Chief Deputy Lucas Geralds told WBKO that the human skull that was found about 200 yards from her residence. The investigation, initially treated as a missing persons case, then shifted to following the identification of her remains. Police have indicated that the cause of death remains undetermined. Nearly 5 years after her disappearance, the remains of Katie Mae Cawthorn, a Monroe County, Kentucky woman who vanished in 2019, have been identified. Police say that despite extensive searches, including cadaver dogs, no clues emerged. Now, last year, this would have been 2023, some dogs drug her skull up into her mother's yard. After months of forensic analysis, Kentucky State Police confirmed that these were her remains. Now, her father gave an interview, and he says he knows very little about the night that his daughter went missing, except that she had gotten into an argument with her mother. He said it was described to him as a typical mother-daughter disagreement, not anything violent or anything like that. Her father said one theory that he has heard is that Katie overdosed and died in the yard in the back of the home. He says he doesn't believe that because where was her body at when they were out there searching, and where was her body at when they brought in these dogs to search for her. She was expected to start a rehab program in October. Now, she went missing in October of 2019. She was supposed to go into rehab not long before or not long after her disappearance. Now, her death was confirmed, and her father says that he has lost 2 other children. 2 of his sons died in tragic deaths in the early 2000s. He says, I've spent all this time missing her, looking for her in crowds everywhere I go, and every time I get into my vehicle and I'm driving down the road, if I see anyone that I think maybe even looks like her, I stop and give a second look. I won't have to do that anymore now that I know where she's at. I just wish I had answers about what happened to her before she did die. She was a good child, and I loved her. So it just goes on to say if anyone has any information regarding Katie's death, they're urged to contact Kentucky State Police, also at Post 15, at 270-384-4796. So these were just a few cases that I put together into a group of a montage, I guess you could call it, of mysterious disappearances of young women. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.